Welcome to First Down Sports, Canadian edition.
Hey.
This is episode number 5 already. Can you believe that, Andy?
I can. But I'm excited about it. It's good.
I'm your host, Ray Dunn. Sitting beside me, my co-host, Andy Jardine.
Yo.
Hi, Andy.
Welcome to the show. Hey, Nick.
Back of the room, we've got Nikki Dunn.
Hey.
Sound and audio.
Or Nick.
Or Nick.
He answers to both, I hear.
No, just one, really.
Prefers one strongly.
And gives dirty looks to the other.
Or gives dirty looks to the other. Our sponsors, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors. We got Moose Light.
Get a Moose Light if you
deal.
want a beer. Yep.
Any night of the week, get yourself a Moose Light. This stuff's scary good.
Scary.
If you're a sports team, an organization, school team, now the school's back.
Self-employed contractor.
There you go. And
Firefighter.
You need hats, shirts, T-shirts, jackets, whatever the case may be. Go see our buddies, the Doyles, Doyle's Corporate Image.
The Doyle's rule.
And lastly, if you're in Ottawa, don't forget you can't get sauce at Luongo's.
Longo.
Oh, Longo's. Sorry.
It's not Roberto Laurent.
Is it? Roberto Luongo's Grocers. Yeah. So Ottawa does have it at that other store?
Jacobson's.
Jacobson's. You go to Jacobson's and you get yourself some done right sauce because you know Ottawa, your cooking sucks.
It's horrible.
Let's fix it up.
Come
now,
on, guys.
Right? Get this done right sauce.
Get this sorted out.
All right. So week 5, we're off and running here. Andy, let's talk about how did the video do in week 4? How many hits we get on the video?
More than... No, I'm kidding. None.
None?
No.
Woo!
We were not able to put a video out last week. We had some technical difficulties with my phone that we're using to video. I hopefully have it solved this week. If I don't, you're not seeing my face right now anyways.
I think what we need to do is I think we need to get like a new sponsor.
Yeah.
Like maybe we can get a camera company like
Sony.
Yeah,
Let's
like
get
Sony or Canon or what is it? Ernie's Camera on St. George Boulevard.
They'll do too, really. Yeah. If they could just kind of supply a camera.
If Ernie's Camera wants to supply a camera, we'll be more than happy. In fact, I will call myself Ernie Dunn from now on.
Come on, guys. Let's get this done.
I think it's Ernie's.
Ernie Dunn, yeah.
Anyways.
I don't know what it is, yeah, but if it's, it's reputable.
Yeah, I think we need to get a nice studio camera down here.
Yeah.
At some point, and that
Ernie's.
might help.
If you need a camera, go to Ernie's.
Go to Ernie's.
If your camera sucks.
Yeah. All right, so let's get talking some football here. Before we get into the big games, listen, I've told you people already, if you've got high school or any football news you want us to talk about right across the country, we'll do it. All you got to do is send in the information. So tonight, we're kicking off the New Brunswick high school football finals start this weekend. Quarterfinals coming up.
You reffing any of these games?
I am.
Okay.
So Friday night, the very first game of the playoffs, it's a 5 p.m. kickoff here at Rocky Stone in Moncton. And what's nice on Friday night, you got back-to-back games at Rocky Stone, which will be great. There'll be a good crowd there on Friday. The first game starts at 5. It's Bernice McNaughton, which is my daughter's school, versus Odyssey.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Odyssey in a second.
Hopefully they can field an entire roster.
Hopefully they can field an entire roster. That's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
Odyssey is the home team in this game. They were second seed overall. So this is going to be a good game. Odyssey right now, I think, is probably favored to win this one, but McNaughton's played really strong the last couple of weeks, so we'll see what happens there.
And they both got into the playoffs with pretty weak records, right? Like that side of the bracket's not super strong.
Not
right?
super strong. McNaughton's 2-6, I believe. Yeah,
2-6 and in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, and
if that was the Browns, I'd take it.
We don't want to talk about this too big because there's a school in Fredericton named Leo Hayes, which went 4-3, and they're out of the playoffs because of the pool they're playing in. But then we have a big game Friday night at 8:00, Rocky Stone Park. We got St. John High coming up against Moncton High. And that is going to be a tough football game. I can tell you right now. I'm glad to be sitting in the stands for this one. I always enjoy watching these games in the stands. So that will be a big one. On Friday, Riverview played Fredericton last week and lost.
And got beat. Yep.
So now
they play them again,
they've
right?
got to play them again, but they're traveling to Fredericton instead of Riverview hosting the game.
Right. To play on that turf, right?
Yeah,
Fredericton have
they'll
the
be
turf?
playing turf, yeah.
Well, we heard it directly from the quarterback that doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't make a difference.
He's ready.
And so good luck to Logan. You guys got to get down there and win that one.
Let's do it, Logan.
The fourth 12th man game is Matthew Martin going up against Tantramar High School out of Sackville, New Brunswick. And Matthew Martin is not favored to win this game.
I could have guessed that one.
I don't know if they're favored to score a point in this game.
Right. Okay.
So I can say that because I'm not in the game. But so those are your 4 12. In New Brunswick, we have 2 leagues. We have the 12-man and 10-man. And just to give you my opinion on this, I really think that New Brunswick needs to change. I think we should be going 12-man right across the border. We should be playing 12-man football. And if you want to have a Pool A and a Pool B as far as strengths of teams,
Yeah.
you could do something like that. But this whole 10-man football, I'm not a big fan of it.
No.
In the 10-man, I'll just touch on it real quick. You've got Sussex at Ormuckto, Hampton at St. Malky's, Rossay at Kennebecasis.
Yep.
And
I'm
lastly,
familiar
you
with
got
that.
Simons at St. Stephen.
So my Miramichi Valley Pulamu did not make the playoffs.
Both Miramichi teams didn't make the playoffs, but we've saw great success out of the Miramichi Valley and Miramichi High teams this year, and I definitely think that their programs are growing. They're
Good.
getting better. They're
Good.
getting better.
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk to you quickly about a game that took place this weekend. Andy, you made a comment there around the Odyssey game. It's been a very tough. We're a week away from what's taken place, but last week was a very tough week for players, coaches, and officials across New Brunswick. There was a game here that took place in Moncton between Tantramar and Odyssey, and CBC reported that 9 players received concussions in that game, and the Odyssey coach pulled his team off the field in the second half,
Right.
to start the second half. There has been numerous articles. Every paper across the country has picked this up. And it even yesterday, I was listening to CBC and I heard this. They're still covering it today. They had a doctor on talking about concussions. I mean, the press is all over this. Yesterday, they had a guy call in. He's a former coach, parent on the Odyssey team, and he 100% blamed the officials for what took place in this game. I can't break down the game for you, but if you watch the game film, it's not a whole lot different than any other game that you'd see at the high school level.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to agree with that or not, but I was able to catch some footage of some of what happened, and I can't blame the refs on that at all.
No.
I mean,
So this past weekend, I had the opportunity. I was the head referee in the Harrison Tremble Trojans versus Tantramar Titans down in Sackville. Before the game even started, I decided to have a quick conversation with both coaches, Coach Scott O'Neill and Mark Teed. And I have to tell you, these guys were fantastic before the game even started. These guys had talks numerous times during the week, and we were ready to go in this game. Now, I want to talk to you about something special that took on in this place.
okay.
So Tantramar, they have a kid that is always working along the sidelines with the team. And this kid, he's 16-year-old boy, and he was born with he's autistic.
Okay, and he was
What What
No,
seems to be the problem?
Sorry, there's Nick is trying to give me some feedback from behind the room.
To talk closer to the mic.
Talk closer to the mic. Now, as you know, listen, we'll leave this in the show. Listen, we're a little on edge here because I keep thinking the video is shutting down. So, as you know, I remove my glasses while we're shooting.
Yeah.
All right, just for glare. But without them, I can't read what he's holding up on a piece of paper.
I can't read that either. I told him to send me a message on Facebook.
So anyway, closer to the mic. All right, so don't start it from scratch, but I mean, you got to the good part right there, and I should have been paying better attention.
Tantramar's got this kid. He's on the sideline. He's 16 years old. He was born autistic.
Yep.
Okay? Mm-hmm. He's always around the football field.
Yep.
And I can hear this kid talking to kids on the sideline. He's at every game. I've never reffed a football game in Sackville where he's not on the sideline.
Okay.
The Harrison Trumbull Trojans
Right.
and the Titans made a deal before the game that if the score should run up, which they knew it was going to, at some point during the game, they were going to bring in this 16-year-old boy who was dressed in uniform.
Nice.
To run a play.
That's awesome.
So here we are. We're about 11 minutes left to go in the game. It's third down and about 30 for Tantramar to make a score. And I turned to the captain of Tantramar, one of the captains, and I said, if there was a time to run that play, now's the time. Because I'm running the time straight, right?
Yep.
Because the scores, it was 41-0 at the time.
Yeah.
So in they bring him. This kid's name is Thomas Lafford.
Okay.
So Thomas comes out, and his brother is the quarterback of the team.
Okay.
Which is pretty neat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he's in shotgun, and he's got the team lined up. And before the play, I had talked to the captains before the game to talk to them about what was going to happen on the field. I didn't want any cheap shots. I didn't want anybody hitting. I wanted this play to go nice and smooth, make it happen for the kid, and then let's move on, right? So the kid's in shotgun, just to set it up for you.
The brothers in shotgun, who's the quarterback.
Right? He's in shotgun, and he's doing his cadence.
Yeah.
22 blue, 2 blue, and he's doing his thing, and he's calling out the cadence. And you could see the brother standing there, and he just wants the ball. He wants the ball.
Yeah.
So finally the ball is snapped. They put it into his hands, and he runs a sweep to the right. And as he runs a sweep to the right, the Harrison Trumbull players are coming in like pretending they're going to tackle him. And the Titans are pretending to block, and the Trumbull guys are all falling to the ground. And this kid's running downfield. So I'm back in the referee position watching this, and I'm thinking, well, I got to go with the play, right? So I got to make it look good. So I start running up along with the play. I'm passing players, which I would never do.
Yeah.
And
Ray tears his ACL at the end.
And I'm watching this kid run down. Sure, and the crowd is going crazy. Okay. Both Harrison Trumbull and Sackville parents, they're all screaming like crazy. The benches are going nuts. And when this kid scored the touchdown, the hands go up, the whistles go. I mean, offensive players. Like, the Titans are a tough football team.
Yeah.
And I mean, players are in tears. Watching this happen. I get emotional even talking about it. And as a referee, I'm like, what the heck's going on? My eyes are moist. It was a very touching moment. And with everything that's gone on in the last 2 weeks around New Brunswick when it comes to football and what goes on in our football fields here, I have to, again, send out a huge, big shout out to all the Trumbull players. You guys are very classy. And some of you seniors, that was your last game. And I have to tell you, what a better way to go out. Very proud of the way you guys handled yourselves. You guys should be proud of the season that you had and that game in particular. The coaches, Mark Teed, Scott O'Neill, again, the fact that you could make that happen and turn a positive story out of New Brunswick, which is what we really needed, fantastic.
Yep.
And I'm going to give a quick shout out to my officiating crew, Ian Hebblethwaite, Aaron Dunfield, Eric LeBlanc, and Fraser Bykowski. You guys handled yourselves very professionally during that play. We ran it just like it was a real play.
Yep.
And telling you, it was a pretty special moment.
You know what? Let's hope that the news sites pick this up too. You know what I mean? Pick this up and run with it as much as they've run with the negativity going around. I hope there's footage of this somewhere. We need to find it and share it.
CBC is run an article, and the video is within the CBC article. But here's the funny thing. When CBC ran the article on the negative news, every paper picked it up across the country. Mm-hmm. And what's shocking, I haven't seen this posted in one other newspaper across New Brunswick at this point, let alone across the country.
Well, let's find it. Let's share it. Anybody who listens to us on this show, find it and share it, CBC, and let's see if somebody will pick it up. Because we need, come on. This awesome. Is a good story.
Yeah. Great story.
And I can't wait to see this video.
So that was, what we'll do is I've got a copy of the video. We'll insert it during the podcast, or, we'll insert it during that conversation that we had.
Absolutely.
Right?
So the people watching already know that we did that because we played it over that conversation. This is the magic of production, people. All right, edit.
All right, let's move on to AUS, because AUS, what an exciting weekend, and we're going to start off with the big game right off the bat. St. Mary's is heading into Acadia for first place overall.
Yes, sir.
And look at Acadia. I mean, this team has fought back to be in this position where they're now fighting for first place. Mm-hmm. Crazy the fact this has taken place. But that being said, here we are, St. Mary's and Acadia. The Axemen get off to a commanding 23-0 lead in the first half of Saturday's ball game.
Yep.
Cody Cluett, he is a monster. 15 for 23, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he rushes for a touchdown as well. Now, here's an interesting thing. Caleb Scott, who's been
my MVP pick,
MVP candidate,
it's been the talk of the league,
right?
Yeah.
Their offense is in trouble. Caleb Scott goes 5 for 16, 74 yards, a pick, and a fumble that was recovered, and points were scored. And he comes out of the game. So backup quarterback Cameron Villardo comes in, goes 208 yards, touchdown, interception, also a fumble, but it was recovered by their team. Here's the biggest challenge for St. Mary's. Here's their rushing statistics. Okay. Villardo, 41 yards.
Yeah.
Caleb Scott, 37 yards.
Yeah.
The next closest runner is King with 17 yards.
They rely on Caleb Scott to, he's their leading rusher and their leading passer. The passing part's obvious, but their offense is designed around quarterback keepers and runs and draws and zone reads or whatever, right? So
and in the beginning of the year, this kid was new to the AUS, so he comes from the States, and this was working. But as the season goes, now they're going to get those edge rushers, those linebackers playing up tight on the line, and they're going to close that box off or close that edge off so he can't make it out to the edge for all those big yards.
You have to think there's something else going on, so hopefully they get their heads on straight a little bit. I mean, for them to be ranked top 10 in Canada, there's something going on here, because those numbers that you just 5 for 16 for 74 yards, and this guy probably still wins the MVP.
This guy was averaging 300 yards a game. Now, the new candidate, and we talked about this guy last week, Dale Wright, the running back. Yeah, he 24 carries, 157 yards again.
He is exactly. So funny enough is I never really noticed him when Acadia was playing the Mounties that week 1 when I went to your game, and they just annihilated them. But I was trying to tune in on Bell Fiber TV,
Bell TV,
to stream the game, and there were problems, and they were tweeting about it saying it wasn't working. But this game came on after a while, so I got to catch. So I saw it right when Acadia still had them blank, like 23-0 or whatever. Yeah. And I was watching this running back, and he's just a monster. He looks like a CFL player.
Oh, he's a big boy.
Woo. Yeah.
So with the win, Acadia now clinches first place of the AUS.
Place.
They will be hosting the 2017 Loney Bowl on November the 11th. So that will be the winner of the first semi game, which will be the second and third seed. We don't know who those teams are yet. We'll talk about that in a second.
Well, will SMU will be one of them?
SMU will be the second seed for sure.
Yeah, now we have to figure out.
Now we're going to figure out the third.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's some interesting news. You just brought this up. SMU is no longer in the top 10 universities.
Who would have thought?
Sitting in 10th is Acadia University.
Oh, the Axemen.
Isn't it? The Axemen have climbed
that.
into the top 10.
Wow, that's good for them, though. That's good for them.
Let's just think about, let's put this into perspective. So week 1, okay, they start off their season on the road and lose 63-24.
They get boat raced by Mount A.
Right? Who would have thought coming off that field that day, anybody, that they would be hosting the Loney Bowl championship on November the 11th.
Right. Walking away from that game thinking, well, the losing team's about to be first place going into the playoffs, and the winning team that day likely doesn't make the playoffs. So,
right.
I mean, amazing, right?
It really is amazing. Let's get into the Mount A, because Mount A was in a playoff game themselves, if you will, down at Bishop's. Their first time playing in the in this new conference in Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
So the loser of this game is out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's what was facing both teams heading into it. And of course, there's big questions heading into the game because we don't know the exact health of Jacob Lux and Malik
Richards. Yeah.
So here's how the game goes: the Gators get out to an early lead, but the Mounties they put together a second half to come back from behind and win this game. And the final score was 42-19 for the Mounties.
They poured it on in the second half for sure. Yeah.
Jacob Lux finally has the game that he was having at the beginning of the year: 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception.
Yeah.
They bring in this running back, Keel Ambersley.
Yeah.
17 carries for 111 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, he was him and Reed, right?
Yeah, Chris Reed,
the two-headed. This guy was running all over the place.
He was.
Kind of stealing the spotlight a little bit.
And then finally, and this has been my biggest thing all year with the Mounties, is they got both their wide receivers involved.
Yep.
Josh Hicks, 4 catches, 110 yards and a touchdown, and Richards, 10 catches for 106 yards and a touchdown.
10 receptions. Yeah. And then Hicks is our local guy, right? Our local kid.
Josh Hicks is right here from Moncton.
From Moncton, yep.
Right here from Moncton. So there you go. Mount A accomplished what they needed to do in this week with their win. Now we move to the final week of regular season.
Yeah.
And we have Mount A at St. Mary's.
Yep.
And there's questions heading into this game.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what's going on with Caleb Scott. Is he going to start? Are they going to go with this Falardo kid?
Well, right. And actually, which is a better case scenario for the Mounties? Like, it's hard to say, right?
It's hard to say. And we know St. Mary's is the second seed.
Right.
They will be hosting the semifinal.
Yeah.
Right?
So they don't really have a lot to play for here.
So do they, what's going to happen here?
Yeah. And the Mounties need to win this game.
Mounties have to win in order to have a shot at that third seed.
And then also, what has to happen is the already eliminated Bishop's Gators have to beat X.
That's right. So Bishop's is at St. of X this week.
Yeah.
The last time these two met was at Bishop's, and X won the game 37-27.
Well, it was competitive.
And X was looking really good at that particular time. The last few weeks, X has not looked overly sharp. Now, they just had a bye. They really needed that bye, in my opinion. But for them to have a shot at this game, they're really going to need to have better play from their quarterback, whether it be Josh Miller or Dylan Fisher, whoever starts for them on Saturday.
Right. Yep.
So that's your AUS. Now, I'm in the Mount A St. Mary's game, so that I'm looking forward to that game. That should be a good one, and we'll see we'll see who St. Mary's is going to host in the semifinal.
Let's go, Mounties. Control what you can control. Beat SMU. They're on the downswing, and they don't have much to play for. Do that part, and maybe Bishops comes through.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
There's your AUS wrap-up. Let's get into some CFL.
Yes.
So, CFL, we got 4 games to talk about. We'll go through them as quick as we can. Saskatchewan dominates Calgary at home.
Yeah.
30-7. Brandon Bridge, your buddy, finally comes into the game again.
And does not impress.
You know, here's the interesting thing. Now, I know we've got a few things to talk about. Here's my perspectives of this game.
Yeah.
Calgary, those are terrible uniforms. They're the worst helmets I've ever seen in any professional sports.
Really?
Terrible uniforms.
I love the red Stampeders.
Yeah, me too.
The red with the white horse.
The red, I love it.
That's probably one of the nicest.
Just like my 2-cup.
That's one of the nicest uniforms in professional football, NFL included.
Absolutely, I love it. I don't know what they're doing with that uniform.
Well, it's not working for them.
So Brandon Bridge comes in, and between him and Bo Levi Mitchell, they both throw 2 interceptions. Now, watching the game, Andy, I don't know if you felt like this. To me, I was shocked at the end of the game there was only 4 interceptions because it felt like there was a good dozen interceptions.
Oh, yeah.
In this ball game.
Just nonstop chaos. Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned something to me about Daron Carter.
Yeah.
Tell me who Daron Carter is and what's going on with him.
So Daron Carter is the I have to play for this camera and the Facebook Live camera. So, hi, Andy. Hello. So Daron Carter is the son of, I believe he's a Hall of Famer, Chris Carter. Chris Carter, right? And he's tried to make the NFL a couple of times, so on big physical receiver. Yep. Bit of a diva, as they tend to be.
Like his father.
Yeah. So the story coming into this week is apparently Daron Carter, and I can't remember the name of the other guy on Saskatchewan, but they got in a fight after practice. Not even in practice. Like, it wasn't like after a play or anything. Like, they got in a fight after practice, and there's crazy stories about it that the Saskatchewan won't talk about now, the Rough Riders. But apparently there was the possibility of a coach was actually encouraging this fight.
Really?
So everybody's thinking, all the Rough Rider fans are, they're going to be suspended. They're both going to be suspended. We need this game against Calgary to make the playoffs, right? And then I think it's 2 days later, the coach comes out and says, Daron Carter's fine. He's going to play. He's actually going to play defensive back as well as receiver. So he's going to be a two-way player in this game. So, okay. So that's as shocking a news as the fight. So Daron Carter's very active on social media, and as you know, so is Bo Levi Mitchell,
yeah.
and he's egging him on, I'm coming, and Bo Levi's like, well, I'll be throwing your way a lot, Mr. Receiver, right? Like, I don't know how it went.
Yeah.
Daron Carter plays an amazing game at defensive back, like makes multiple plays, right? But the one that made the game was he was kind of more in a safety position, I guess. Like, he was the deep corner, and he came in on an overthrow, but he catches an interception, returns it for a touchdown. Everybody goes absolutely crazy. They make the playoffs because of this win.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, it's not there now, but I saw a Daron Carter update on Twitter. He posted what looked like a sort of a doctor. I mean, it looked really good. It looked like an updated Wikipedia profile where he says, hey, it looks like Bo Levi Mitchell got his Wikipedia profile updated. And the write-up at the very bottom is, Bo Levi Mitchell's career was recently tarnished forever, throwing an interception for a touchdown to wide receiver Daron Carter
of the other team,
and now has to forever refer to Daron Carter as daddy.
I just hope Daron Carter has a fall guy for when he's out after the game.
So we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, it was a good game.
You remember that old Chris Carter fall guy thing?
Yeah. I got to take the blame for everything, right?
All right. So here is a big game. I told Ray Perkin last week that I was riding the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for him, and they were going to knock off Toronto to give Ottawa the bye, whatever. So in the first half, if you watch this game, both teams marched the ball back and forth down the field. They were both playing great football. It was a very interesting game. And then late in the second quarter, Ricky Wray throws an interception to a defensive end. And that defensive end takes off downfield. And do you remember the old play where Don Beebe caught the defensive end from Dallas and knocked the ball out of his hand?
No.
Anyways.
But I know you Bills fans do remember
All
this.
right.
Yeah.
So just like this, the defensive end's running down, and little Wilder Jr.
Yeah.
catches him and knocks the ball out of his hands on the 1 yard line. Now, Winnipeg did end up scoring, but the whole time as he's chasing him downfield, I was like, go, BB, go. Anyways, it was a pretty neat game. Toronto, with 1 minute and 43 seconds left, scores a touchdown to take the score to 29-28. Winnipeg gets the ball with 1:43. They drive the ball downfield, and with 5 seconds left to go in the game, they line up to kick a 40-yard field goal, and guess what?
What, Ray?
It goes wide right.
Wide right.
Ironically, I was just talking about Don Beebe,
Shades
and
of
I was saying wide right.
Shades of Buffalo Bills all over this game.
Man, so I'm sorry, Ray. I screwed up on that one. I was hoping the Blue Bombers would win for you.
Yeah, Rick, you can't count Ricky Ray out. What am I hearing? So, those of you watching on video, Chris is broadcasting Facebook Live, and I'm hearing stuff and totally obstructing the show here. This is what we have to deal with on the Canadian show, but we move along.
We're trying to make it along.
You can't count Ricky Ray out ever.
No.
Especially after an interception, he's not phased whatsoever. Whether he has 2 minutes or 32 seconds left, I mean, he's going to score.
He's a pro.
Yeah.
Ricky Ray is a real
one
pro.
of the best. You would have to say one of the better CFL quarterbacks of all time.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, gosh, yeah.
He threw me a touchdown pass at a CFL game when I was a ball boy.
Nice.
Talk about that another time.
Boy.
All right. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Edmonton beat BC 35-29. BC's now out of the playoffs. Edmonton, well, they were out anyways, but Edmonton is in the playoffs. But let's talk about this one real quick.
Just one thought on BC game. So, Chris, I know a couple of shows back of our other show, you were asking, well, maybe I'd like CFL a little more if there was a CFL fantasy or something like that, in which I let you know at the time that there is, right? So actually, I, for the first time, submitted a DraftKings team in CFL fantasy. It's a lot of fun. You pick, every player has a cost attached to them. You do special teams, and special teams is super important in the CFL, right? Because just all they do is score.
That's right.
And I was riding the backs of the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Edmonton Eskimos in this game.
Okay.
So I had my guy Mazzoli from the quarterback from Hamilton and Hamilton's defense, and everybody else except for Wilder Jr., the running back for Argos, I had from Edmonton, and they had a wonderful game. All these guys really did well, except one particular player, and I finished in the top, I don't know what it is, 5 percentile, and got some money. And man, I'm going to be playing CFL fantasy.
Nice.
Want to ask a quick question on that?
Sure. Yeah.
So you can pick up anyone on the field.
Yeah. So basically, there's a set, like, you have a set salary cap, and the players are worth a certain amount of money depending on, it's regular DraftKings fantasy.
Yeah,
if you've never played it before, I'll show it to you later. It's pretty cool.
Can I pick the goalpost?
Okay.
I could tell by the look on his face we were setting a joke up there too. I just was trying not to play along, thinking maybe it would fizzle. So
All right. Let's
next
get it.
game. All
Next
right.
game. Hamilton 43-16 over Montreal. You picked
My
this game.
lock of the week.
This was your lock of the week.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got about this game?
I like Hamilton. They're fun to watch. I really like Mazzoli. I don't have much to say about this game other than Montreal is kind of pathetic. I was waiting for this one to happen because it was the Sunday game where everything else was already done to see if I could do well in my CFL fantasy. But not a lot to say about it other than Hamilton's really very fun to watch, very balanced offense. Like they're really good at all aspects of the game, special teams, and they just need maybe a little bit more talent everywhere. And I keep hearing that, all of their quarterbacks, the one that started the year that I can't even think of his name, Mazzoli, contracts are coming up, they're going to be traded, so on and so forth. Manziel's arriving next year, possibly, and all this stuff. And all I want to say is, man, June Jones has things He has things turned around.
He does.
Players should want to come and play for this team. And you know what? Like, you've got a quarterback right now. So as excited as I'll be to see Johnny Manziel come to the CFL, and I think the CFL could use this little jolt for popularity. Man, Hamilton's going to be a good team next year.
Well, I love this wide receiver. They got Brandon Banks.
Yeah.
129 yards with a touchdown.
Yeah.
I love when, he does his, it's in the bank.
It's in the bank.
It's in the bank, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All right, so that's Week 18 wrap-up. Week 19, we got a big game here. Big game. The team we're talking about, Hamilton, is traveling to Ottawa.
Yep.
Ottawa needs this win to capture first place overall.
Yeah, Hamilton's dangerous. They've been eliminated for a while, and as you saw, the numbers they ran up this past week, this is not going to be easy.
No,
you cannot
it's not
take
gonna be
this.
an easy game.
You can't take this lightly at all.
No, so Ottawa's got a big hand. You got Montreal at Saskatchewan, BC at Winnipeg, and finally Calgary at Edmonton.
Calgary needs to just play a decent game to get some momentum going.
Calgary's already locked up home field advantage.
Yeah, but they're just playing crappy.
They
like
are.
last couple weeks,
Toronto and Ottawa, they've both clinched this playoff spot. It's now they're battling for first overall in the East.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
That's your CFL wrap-up. Any thoughts before we get out of here?
We're going to lock of the week on this
Oh,
one?
yeah. Let's do some lock on the weeks. What do you got here?
Well, I got to stick to my usual rule, especially when they're playing a playoff team. So, Rough Riders over the Montreal Alouettes. Lock of the week.
That is a lock
going to
of the
be a
week.
problem.
All right, then I'm going to take a good lock of the week. I'm going to go with Winnipeg over BC. That's my lock of the week.
Sounds like a good one, too. All right.
All right, hold on. Let's go real quick here. Hamilton at Ottawa. Who do you got?
I have to... As you know, I'm developing a bit of a soft spot for Hamilton, but
yeah.
my loyalty for now has to stay with the Red Blacks, and I think they realize what's on the line here, the possibility of getting first place back in the East.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Red Blacks in a high-scoring game.
High-scoring game.
That isn't going to look like a high-scoring game at halftime.
Awesome.
These two teams are going to go nutso in the second half. I don't know the exact score, but let's say a win by 2.
There you go. That's episode 5, folks, of our Canadian podcast. Andy, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Good luck, Mount A. I've already said this, but maybe you're only tuning into the end of the show because that would make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, control what you can control. Go beat SMU. They're not the team we thought they were, especially not right now. And good luck, and good luck to Riverview as well.
Riverview High, okay.
Yeah, all the teams in the playoffs for the local high school. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, and for me, just before I'm going to give you the sponsors a shout out again: Moose Light, Doyle's Corporate Image, Done Right Sauce. Don't forget you can get that at Luongo's. Longo's. Sorry, Longo's. But my final thoughts before we get out of here, boys, is, again, I just want to give out a shout-out to the whole Tantramar Titans team and Thomas Lafford. Congratulations on your first high school touchdown. And to Harrison Tremble Trojans, you guys are as classy as it gets. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the games this week, boys.
It's too easy to hit that camera. I got another one.
Oh.
Whoops.
She's all lit up, hair and makeup. She's out every night. She's drinking pesticide.